In Google Earth, you can view all of the same information that you can view with Google Maps, plus additional information. Also, you can display combinations of these layers of information at the same time by choosing which items you want to have appear in your legend. Let me go through the items in your legend. The first is the births layer. This shows all of the births in your community that you are authorized to see. The selected births shows all of the items that came back in your most recent search results. All of these are shown with a red circle around the mooring or the berth. My births will show each of the berths that you have personally permitted. It will show with an orange X on top of the mooring. The boats layer is something that only appears in Google Earth, not Google Maps. And I'd suggest that you zoom in prior to turning this layer on, because performance can be slow when you're trying to do this for your entire community. And what this will do is show you scaled drawings of vessels on the harbor based on the length and beam measurements that you entered into the database. So this will give you a sense of what your harbor will look like at scale. And all the vessels show as sailboats at the moment. Let me turn that off and zoom back out. The swing areas layer can also be used to show the areas where the vessels might swing around the berth. The size of the swing areas vary depending on the physical description of the mooring tackle, the vessel length, and the depth of the water. The berth movement layer will show you any moorings that have moved from where they were supposed to be. Here's an example of a berth. You can see this white tail on the berth. One end of the tail is where the berth was supposed to be according to its permit, and the other end of the tail is where the berth is now. We also have a layer to show nautical charts. This nautical chart layer is derived from the NOAA charts, showing depth measurements, buoys, other marks, and defined areas that show up on NOAA charts. Validation areas are areas that have been defined in Google, in online mooring, areas where berths are allowed to be or are not allowed to be. In this case, this green area is an area where berths are allowed to be for a particular marina. And we might also see red areas where moorings or berths should be excluded. The next layer is the label layer. The name that will appear here will vary depending on the field that you chose to label your berths with. In this case, we're labeling based on the information in the database in the mooring name field. And you can see that when you're looking at a lot of moorings, it can get a little bit overwhelming. So I would suggest that you zoom in to a fairly small area before you turn on the labels. And in this case, this buoys layer is something that's only available to this particular community because that was a custom layer that was created.